Weslaco versus PSJA. It's the Panthers' one and only scrimmage. The Panthers' third possession. They get the ball going using the running game. Matthew de Santiago, 17 yards. They feed him again, 10 yards for Santiago. Then they give it to Peyton Knob, sophomore running back, inside the 30-yard line. Weslaco keeps it right here. The quarterback keeper, this is Marco Leal to the 15-yard line. Next play, Leal finds Richard Olzak to the 1-yard line. Peyton Knob ends the drive, a 70-yard touchdown drive for the Panthers. Next possession for Weslaco after keeping the Bears off the board, Jacob Cavazos, 20 yards. De Santiago, again, a great game for him. That offensive line doing an awesome job. Cavazos finishes the drive here. It's 2 touchdowns to the Bears, no touchdowns so far. A good couple of defensive plays right here, nearly an interception right there by a defensive lineman, Sam Perez. Then from the backside, Enrique Guerra, the senior defensive end, strip sack, fumble. They couldn't advance the ball because it was the controlled portion of the game. And then a big hit right here, and the Panthers dominating the controlled portion of the game. Elijah Banda rolling out right here, scoring. That's 3 touchdowns for the Weslaco Panthers to the Bears. Only 1 touchdown in the controlled portion of the game. We go to the second half now, and they go live for 2 quarters. A real game situation, and the Bears look like they're going to dominate the live portion of the game as they jump out to a 21-point lead. A fumble and interception didn't help the Weslaco Panthers, and then a middle screen was one of the bread and butter plays of the Bears in this contest. Weslaco would finally get on the board here. Knob, 58 yards down the sideline to the house. 21-6, Bears still with the lead. We go to the fourth quarter now. Elijah Banda, senior quarterback, to Devin Denna to the 30-yard line. Panthers in business. Then Banda running with the ball here. Nifty moves, runs away from a defensive back, spins away from another player to the 10-yard line. Then Jacob Cavazos, sophomore quarterback, runs it in, but the Bears still have the lead 21-13. Defense comes up with a big play right here. That's Guerra, a big game for him, deflecting the ball away and forcing the Bears to punt. Weslaco makes it 21-19. Jaden Cavazos running with the ball here, scoring for Weslaco, their 3rd straight touchdown. They need another score though. Cavazos at quarterback, running, eluding tacklers to the 21-yard line. Then Cavazos looking for the Panthers to take the lead, and a strike here to Denna. 26-21 Weslaco. 1:12 left on the clock for the PSJA Bears from the 31-6A district. They benefit from a couple of big penalties, a personal foul, and then this interference call. They move the ball here all the way to the 1-yard line. Then with 1 second left on the clock, the Bears punch it in for an exciting 27-26 win. Just a scrimmage, but nonetheless, the Bears celebrate right there. And for more on the game, here is the Miriam Guerra Allstate Insurance post-game show.
It was the one and only scrimmage for the Weslaco Panthers after a hectic weekend because of a possible hurricane to threaten the Rio Grande Valley. The Weslaco Panthers finally found an opponent. It was the PSJA Bears, and yes, a good crowd on hand here at Bobby Lackey Stadium to watch the contest. And what an exciting scrimmage it was for the local Panthers and PSJA fans. Hello everybody, Carlos Roberto along with Mike Gonzalez, and yes, the Weslaco Panthers came out here and they played against someone else beside themselves, the PSJA Bears, and a good PSJA Bear team, a team that is loaded with seniors, and the Panthers win 3-1 in the controlled portion of the game, but in the live scrimmage, they end up just losing with 1 second left on the clock. As you saw on the highlights, they lost 27-26. Mike, they were aided there, the Bears were, by a couple of penalties.
Yeah, they were at the very end. They got an offensive, a defensive pass interference there to help them get a first down. And I think there was a holding call, or somewhere early in the drive that helped them keep the drive alive. But the defense did a terrific job to keeping the Panthers in the game after they fell behind early, and then the offense just was able to catch up after an early deficit, and it took the lead. But, I mean, there's a lot of positives to take out of this for sure.
Yeah, a lot of positive things, absolutely. I did talk to Coach Salinas about the penalties after the game, and he says, you know what, yeah, the penalties were there. It was a roughing against the quarterback, which was 15 yards to keep the final drive alive, and then a holding penalty that got the ball deep in the red zone for the Bears. And I talked to Coach Salinas about that after the contest, and he said, hey, it was a learning moment for the Panthers.
There was two teachable moments, 2 third and longs that I feel like we bailed them out. But it is what it is. They made the plays when they needed to make them, and we didn't. But I think there was a lot of, from the overtime portions of it to the game situation, put us playing from behind, playing with the lead late. So about every possible situation we could have been in today, we were in.
All right, so the Panthers do look good after last week's performance where they played against one another in an intra-squad scrimmage. And you and I were talking most of the scrimmage about the offensive line because the quarterbacks, whoever they go with, because they still haven't decided, among the 3 that they've been using, the quarterbacks actually had time to pass today.
They did, Carlos, from Marco Leal to Elijah Banda to even Jacob Cavazos. They were rotating them in and out, and led by Matthew Lopez, Richard Carmona, and the whole unit as a whole did a terrific job blocking, and makes me feel good because, as we all know, that the offense ran the ball for a dozen years, and so it looks to me like they still have that in their back pocket. If they have to run the ball, they can do it, and in this offense, the quarterbacks are more involved with running the ball, and I thought all 3 quarterbacks did a terrific job running the football.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about the running backs here in a little bit because they had an outstanding game. But right now, let's hear from Richard Carmona, the offensive line, one of the offensive linemen, a senior, who talks about that being a point of emphasis this week to give the quarterbacks time to pass the ball. Last week, y'all were working a little bit more and giving them time, but this week against PSJA, y'all played well.
Yes, our coach, Coach Rush, he really teaches us more this week on pass blocking. So I think we got. You got that down. What about
Matthew Santiago, Peyton Kanab? They had some good runs as well.
Yes, they're really good players. Once they see the hole, they just run through it and they go score.
All right, thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you.
All right, so not only passing the football, but also running with the football. In fact, during that controlled portion of the scrimmage, they came out passing in the first 2 series, and Weslaco couldn't do anything. But they started running with the football. It was Matthew Santiago running with the football. It was Peyton Kanab running with the football, and then the quarterbacks as well doing a good job running with the rock there, and that's how they scored their first touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, they went on both sides of the line, actually. Left side, to me, looked like the strongest side, led by Matthew Lopez, and that's where they got a lot of the carries. Payne Kanab, really terrific on a short yard situation. Matthew Santiago was the one that had those longer runs, 10, 15 yards, and it's good to know because early on they were trying to go deep. It wasn't quite working out for them, so that's when Coach Salinas says, you know what, let's run the football, let's try to run it, and boom, they were able to get like 3 first downs. I know they had I think it was the 3rd drive of the control scrimmage where they went 6 plays, 70 yards, culminated by the Payne Kanab 1-yard run. And I mean, they did that, Carlos, and like I swear to you, like in 2 minutes, if this was a game situation, it probably would have been no less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was a very quick, up-tempo type of offense. They kind of slowed it down during the control scrimmage. It might have been because of the conditioning of the team and only getting this 2 weeks of workouts. And then, of course, it's hot. It's 90 something degrees out here. We didn't get any rain from the hurricane or anything like that, so it's still very, very warm conditions here for the Weslaco Panthers. But the Panthers defensively also, they look good. Only 1 touchdown in that controlled portion of the scrimmage. Enrique Guerra had a sack, stripped for a fumble, and he also deflected a pass on a middle screen because they were being killed by that middle screen all game long. Finally, they made some adjustments, and Enrique Guerra able to deflect that pass and force a punt on one of those drives. And then, of course, Marco Noriega, once again, having a good game. The linebackers had good games, but defensively, they look pretty strong. Once again, let's talk about the control portion of the scrimmage.
Yeah, Tommy Esquivel had an interception as well, Carlos, in that control scrimmage, which is a big-time bonus. The secondary got tested with some of the long passes PSJA threw, and I think the coaching staff did a terrific job, as you mentioned, Carlos, adjusting to that scheme that the Bears were showing, and only gave up 1 touchdown in that control scrimmage, and got off to a slow start in the game situation, but after that they shut them out until the very end. So the defense showed a lot of promise. I thought they were very aggressive, which I really like, and that's what we expect from the unit.
Yeah, and then when you go to the live portion, they played for a whole half of football, and they were down 21-0. The Panthers were. A fumble took place, an interception also took place, and that helped aid the Bears to jump out to that 21-0 lead. And Devin Denna gave the Panthers the lead very, very short there until the PSJA Bears drove it down the field for the winning score. But here's Devin Denna on his catch for a touchdown.
The final drive, I was just thinking to get to my spot where I'm supposed to be when I'm on my route. We worked hard as an offense. Our O-line pushed it. Our receivers pushed it to our routes. Once I saw that little opening in the window, I put my hand up, and he just saw me and threw me the money.
All right, so it was disappointing for the Panthers in one respect, but you got to, kind of keep this all in perspective.
It's only a scrimmage.
It's a scrimmage.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. It's a learning moment. It's a practice scrimmage. Yes, it was entertaining for the fans. It was one of the more exciting scrimmages that I have seen. But it's also good to see the Panthers execute and play well and come close to nearly beating a team, the Bears, that should be going to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, that's exactly, Carlos. And the thing that I liked, again, is that they fell behind 21-0, and the coaches didn't give up. They were encouraging the players to hang in there. And even Coach Salinas was yelling, like, guys, I'm going to bring you guys back. Don't worry about it. Just hang in there. And sure enough, they scored in 4 straight possessions to take the lead. So what makes me feel good is that during the season, if something like that were to happen, I'm gonna feel pretty good about my chances that, hey, we can come back and we can make this to at least a game. I mean, in the old system, I don't know if that was the case, because in the old system it was more ball control offense. It would have been much more difficult. Once you're behind by 2 possessions or more, it makes it that much more difficult. And Carlos, you think about it, they did this in a quarter, a little more than a quarter. If you think about it, we only played 2 quarters of live portion, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think that the Weslaco Panthers are going to be in good shape for this year, contending possibly for a playoff spot. But they're definitely a whole lot better than they were in the spring, and they were a whole lot better than they were last week. Some of the people to look out for this year now that we've watched them a little bit will be Devin Denna, Peyton Kanab, a sophomore at the running back position, and Matthew De Santiago, also the running backs, because both the running backs look good. So we'll look forward to next week. Next week, it is the opening of the 2017 season. The Weslaco Panthers will be playing on September 2nd. They are scheduled to play at George Ranch, which is in the Houston area, but with what is going on with the hurricane Harvey as it stands right now on a Saturday morning, we're not sure exactly what is going to happen, because that's where the hurricane is headed right now. So just stand by and watch your local news and keep it tuned to KWES to find out more on the Weslaco Panthers. So a good game for the Panthers, even though they come out on the short end in the live portion, 27-26. For Vinny Berry and Mike Gonzalez, I'm Carlos Robledo. We'll see you guys next time here on KWES.